Okay, here we are in Photoshop. We've already gone File, Open, and open the image. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to magnify. Command Spacebar magnifies, Command Alt Spacebar demagnifies. We're going to want to come in close enough where when we draw we can see what we're doing. So we choose the pen tool, that's this tool down here, okay? Click on it once, and in we go. We're going to click and drag nice and neatly, and very, very smoothly we're going to start drawing just inside the edge of this gentleman's ear and all the way around his head bit by bit. Remember, those Bezier handles shouldn't be overtaking each other. What I mean by that is we don't drag them this far, we drag them nice and neatly in sequence, so as that the curves we get are pretty precisely matching the object we're dealing with. Now I'm going to just pause this for a little bit so I don't bore the living pants off you. So I've worked my way all the way around, just clicking and dragging nice and neatly as we go. And when we come to finish up the path, you'll notice you're going to get the little closing path icon here, and see it? And that's good, just click and off we go. Now, we want to make this path active. As you remember the last day, there's different ways to make the path active. You can hit Command Return on the keyboard, or you can go to the Paths palette down here. Just move these guys away. The Paths palette here, okay? And you can just click on 1, 2, 3. Mine is actually the third. This one here, you might be a slightly different version. So the icon looks like the marching ants. Okay, you click on it there, and all of a sudden the path is active. Rightio. Now, just select the Move tool there to make it easier to understand what's going on, and you'll realize you can end up moving your layer. Just click back on Layers here, and you can end up moving your object very easily. If we haven't already done it, double click on the background layer. Notice I've gone back to Layers here. I'm not on Paths anymore, I'm on Layers. I'm going to double click it and hit the Return key. That releases the lock. That means we can move the layer and do things we want. Now I'm just going to go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. You can use the top menu here, or you can just go Command C, Command V. And we can turn off the bottom layer just here, and we have our gentleman cut out. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my background image. File, Open, Sky, Open it comes. Okay, now there's different ways to move the guy on top of this layer, lots of different ways. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click, see what I just did there? I clicked on the name of the image here, and I drag down about 1 centimeter. And all I'm going to do then is I'm just going to drag this background using the Move tool, okay, onto my other image, and then I'm going to reverse the order of the layers here on the right hand side, so that layer is beneath the man layer, okay, and we've got our two objects one above the other. Next thing we need to do here is we need to deal with the refining his edge. It's very, very blocky at the edge here. Do you see that? Okay, so we need to make that a lot more realistic. So I'm going to Command click with the Command key. I'm going to click right on his icon. Do you see him there in the Layers palette? Just to make sure we haven't selected again. And then I'm going to go Select, Refine Edge. Okay, now a few little tips here. For the moment, output to a new layer, and that way you'll see what's going on. Okay, and move this to the side so that you can actually see what's happening in your object you're picking up here. So I'm going to feather him ever so slightly. That makes the edges softer, and I'm going to shift the edges just a little bit to the inside. Now it's a little bit soft here, so I'm just going to pull back the feather maybe to a pixel, and let's give that a go. Okay, now because we chose to output that to a separate layer, you'll see that it's actually output that to a new layer here. It's called a Layer 1 copy. If you want to rename your layer, just double click on it here and name it whatever you want to name it. Okay. So now we've got a reasonable effort at getting this gentleman looking like he belongs a bit in the background. We're just going to do a tiny little bit of editing by hand, and how we're going to do that is we're going to choose the eraser tool here. Alright, and when you choose the eraser tool, you'll notice at the top you get a whole lot of options for it. I'm going to choose a very soft brush, 0 hardness, and the size depends on the image you're dealing with, obviously. Okay, then I'm going to come back in here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of softness to the edge of his shoulder here because it just seemed a little bit too hard, and that's excessive. So we can actually just do a few little clicks there, and probably a couple along his hair as well, just so he doesn't disappear into the background. We don't overdo it, and so as it doesn't look like he's a paper cutout, we do a little bit of work on it. Okay, so there'll always be a little bit of drawing, a little bit of touch-up in Photoshop, and there'll always be using its automated tools to the best of your ability at the same time. Now when we're saving save it as a PSD file, which is the native format, and give it a proper name, and hit save.